Welcome to Brunch with Besties podcast.
Hey.
I am Sherry Renee.
And I'm Chanel.
Our mission is to heal and help others as we heal and help ourselves through purpose-driven conversations.
Yep.
Today we have a very special and beautiful guest here with us. Hi, Ashley.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, welcome.
Today we are talking about vulnerability in Black women.
Right.
That should be nice.
Right.
We'll see how we do. You guys can let us know how we're doing with that.
Absolutely.
And actually, we do have a Google form in the notes in the bio. So if you have questions for myself or Chanel or for both of us or for a guest, go ahead and fill that out and we will do our best to answer on air.
Absolutely.
Before we get into Ashley's business.
All up in a business.
All up in there.
Before we get into that, let's start like we always do with the toast. So I'm going to start with you, Bestie. Who are you toasting to today?
Okay, so I'm actually going to give my toast today to you, Ashley. Yesterday, I was a part of your Sip and Speak event, and it was really amazing. And it's funny because I think one of the women that was there said she was kind of anxious about coming. She didn't know the group of women that was going to be there. And I have anxiety as well. So I was just like, oh, my God. Like, I started sweating. Like, I don't know who's going to be here. But I instantly felt like welcomed and at home, seeing yourself. We hugged, seeing Kayla and like other familiar faces that I knew. And I was just like, this is about to be good. But I didn't know how good until I started like crying at the end. I was like, all right, now she got me crying. Then I know this is like a big, big deal. But I would just encourage everybody to go to the next one, attend a Sip and Speak if you can. It was truly amazing. You truly are doing some great work with Black women and offering us a safe space to talk and have those conversations. So you get my toast. So shout out to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Actually, you made Bestie cry? Oh, no.
Yeah, she said she didn't really cry like that. So I was like, what? I'm also like that. I don't cry like that either. So I get it.
She be trying to be a thug.
I mean,
we are thugs. What you talking about?
Crying thugs.
So, Ashley, who are you going to give your toast to today?
I think I'm going to give my toast to my sisters because it's so important for me to recognize them and their efforts of vulnerability. It was so amazing to see so many new faces yesterday, and the breakthrough moment that we had was very, it was like electrifying to me. It was like almost like an electric shock. You go past something and it shocks you. And I was like, wow, like I couldn't believe what I saw, but I was just like listening and feeling and soaking in the moment because I was just like outdone. Like, you know how you just get something, like your spirit is so full. And I'm going to toast to my sisters because it was beautiful. Like yesterday was beautiful. And as I continue to grow, I plan to, make bigger and bigger and better so that we can have these healing spaces. So yeah, I'm toasting to my sisters.
Right. Yes. That is great. All right. Last but certainly not least, are you giving your toast to?
I'm going to give my toast to Bridget Whitaker because I too spent the weekend crying, but not at Ashley's event. So first I was traveling all week at work, and then as soon as I landed, I went to Lakeland for a Press But Not Broken retreat held by Community Ministries, and Bridget invited me to go. So my toast goes to her for including me and for making me part of the big girls clique that weekend, because her and John Ray, they're a little bit older than me, and I felt like a like a little kid that was invited to hang with the big kids.
Yes, he was at the adult table.
I was at the adult table. Yes,
because they like adults.
They like real adults.
Right.
I'm like a fake adult, so I got to be at the real adult table. So I want to say thank you to her for inviting me. So we cried, and I know that I'm fun.
Hey.
But I be pretending to be.
That's not a good word.
Hey, listen.
But I did my best. Like it was day 3 before I really cried. Because I was like, I was just a little teary, like,
Gotcha.
Something's
so you didn't get broke down like Woman Evolved.
Right.
We died.
No, on the last day I was like,
okay.
You let them all out.
Let it all out. But I mean, Woman Evolved day 1.
Day 1. No, it was day 1, hour 1, first session. It was like,
yeah, that's important though. Get on them tears out. Them alligator tears are the best ones.
Oh yes.
But I felt so much good.
So
that's good.
I'm glad to know that my bestie was somewhere crying
there we
too.
Go. Together, we were in sync.
So thank you, Ashley.
Yes.
No problem.
But she needed to cry.
I did.
Listen, I'm telling you, you get to crying. Like I'm a crier when I see other people cry.
Ooh,
I'm gonna cry when people be happy. I'm gonna cry when they sad. And do not hug me if I'm crying. I'm about to break.
Yes.
So, yes, I'm definitely one of those people. And I always cry when I tell my stories because I think it's just a happy moment for me to be able to just tell it. And I'm like, at some point, Ashley, you're going to have to stop crying. Like, you don't have to just talk your stories through. But I guess it's just the moment that you're in and the space that you're just evolving in, and it feels good. So you just start crying.
Yes, it's a cleansing.
It is a cleansing.
It is. It is.
It's a cleansing ritual. So
yeah, shout out to Bridget Whitaker. Yes.
Yes. All right. So we are now going to break bread because we have to check in and see how we are doing.
Yes.
So I will start with you, Bestie. What is going on? How are you? You've been crying.
All right.
I'm proud of you for that.
I did, and I was just like, ooh. But definitely, I'm okay. I won't complain. My son is definitely keeping me busy, and now, I live by his schedule. So whatever he needs to do, I am doing it. So he had me up at the crack of dawn. It was dark outside. We was outside moving around already. So I was just like, oh my gosh. But so I'm doing good. Been spending time with my mom, which makes me happy. My family's good. My friends are doing well. Definitely want to send love and light to Ryan. But yeah, I think everything is going, pretty good. I won't complain. I have no complaints.
So it's given what it was supposed to have been.
That's good.
Okay. Yes, good. Ashley, how are you doing? What's going on?
What's going on with me is obviously, the sip and speak and just coming off a high weekend. But I think that I'm doing extremely well as far as keeping my emotions in check and making sure that I reflect in, of course, using my I statements, which is very important to me right now, making sure that I inform people how they make me feel in those moments. But even outside of that, I'm back on the dating scene. So I think I'm very excited about it and just enjoying life as it comes, I guess. And it feels good to, get back out there and still enjoy the moments that you spend and time that you share. So I'm just excited to see whatever happens. So that's what's going on with me, y'all.
In these dating streets, I'm excited for that.
Yeah. I think everybody excited at this point.
I love it.
Yeah, okay, y'all. Okay.
We rooting for you. You out
Yes.
here. Back to back. I love it. All right. And then what is going on with Sherry Renee?
I am back in town, so I'm happy about that.
Yes.
I have been in hotels for the last 7 days. So
Literally, right.
I'm excited to be here. I've been hanging out on the East Coast, so shout out to the East Coast.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm supposed to live there or what, because I keep going. So, but it feels good to come off of that weekend. My little niece took her pictures today, so I was excited for her about that. And you got to see her.
I did. That was funny. Kids say the darndest things.
Kids are silly, actually.
They say the darndest thing. You can't predict what they're gonna do
at all.
That's why there's a lot of shows about them.
Yes.
But yes, I feel good. I feel centered. I feel refreshed. I feel renewed. I feel evolved. I feel like I got a nice release, right? A nice cleansing this weekend. So,
I love that.
So, yes. So now it's time for us to get all up in Ashley's business.
Okay.
It is time for tea time. So let's start by first, Ashley, let's get some background. So before I was trying to figure out where do I know Ashley from, and we just agreed that it's probably just from being out here in these streets. I don't know.
You said it's who out here in these streets?
It's that's probably just where I've seen your face, just out here in these streets.
Probably. I think so, but I definitely think it started with FCTV game night.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay. I feel like it's further than that. I feel like it's further than that, but we'll see.
We gonna find out.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
We be outside, you know. We be outside.
So let's give the people some background on you. Tell them who you are, what you do, and why vulnerability is so important to you.
Absolutely. Well, if you can't see, I am Ashley S. Stokes. I'm an author and motivational speaker, and currently, what I'm passionate about is helping Black women conforming to themselves and focusing on their mental health while maintaining their happiness. So I definitely enjoy, spending time with the ladies. Outside of that, I'm an amazing aunt. I don't have any children at this time, but I think I'm a super aunt to not only my friends' kids, but my family, of course. But making sure that I stay on top of that because it's important to me to further that. I also do things in the community with the children, just based off where I come from and in my background. I love to get back to the communities in which I grew up in. So I host different back to school events and things like that to make sure that I break bread, as y'all would say, in the communities that I grew up in. So that's pretty much what I do and who I currently, resonate as. I'm gonna be Ashley S. Stokes, but besides that, that's pretty much what I'm doing right now. So yeah, that's me, y'all. I think it was a two-part question to that, and why we talked about vulnerability. Correct?
Yeah. Why is that important to you?
Because that's a struggle thing for me. I think talking about vulnerability is important, and recognizing that it's not only just a thing that should happen, but it's a thing that helps us become free of whatever it is that we're scared of. Being vulnerable is not a scary thing. It's something that I think that, we shelter into so that, or we shelter out of so that we're not taken advantage of. And me personally, that's what I feel and that's what I think about vulnerability. But as it's been coming to me and as I've been soaking it all in, it's definitely a cleansing. It's been more refreshing, more enlightening to have conversations not only with myself about checking myself, because sometimes, you can get checked, but you got to check in with yourself sometimes. And it's like, you want to keep doing the same thing or do you want to get better? So it's definitely, that's where I'm at with vulnerability. And I think I'm at the point where, yeah, I want to be better because staying complacent is not good for me. I just need to continue to excel, especially in my emotional intellect. It's important for me. So, yeah, that's why I chose vulnerability.
Nice. Well, that's amazing. So then what was the trigger? What made you say, like, you know what? I need to embrace my vulnerability. It's time. Right? I was off. I've gotten to this point where now I need to focus on vulnerability. What was the triggering mechanism that made you make this an area of focus?
So the triggering mechanism was definitely, I would say, so as of late, I'll give you an example. I'm a very direct, I'm a very direct person. And I talk with a lot of power and force almost. And it's like not to, make people feel any type of way so that it's more so like, do you understand like what I'm saying? I'm saying exactly what I'm saying, not what you're feeling, but I'm saying exactly what I'm saying. And hearing the same thing over and over, it's like, wait, like, okay, like it's either maybe I'm saying it a little too hard, or like, do I really want people to understand me? Or is this just something that I'm pushing away like pushing off, like sheltering people away from me so that they don't come in. And I'm learning that that's just not what I want to do. I want people to understand me. I want to be able to touch each ear. Now, whether they understand me or not, I want to be able to present what I'm saying so that it's not offensive or that it just doesn't make people feel some type of way. Because sometimes we can make people feel some type of way, but some people may need it now. We ain't gonna forget about the people that need it. But at the same time, I just want to be able to check in with myself and, hear what people are saying. Not that I want to change me. It's definitely something that I just need to, be able to work on that delivery a little bit better. And I'm like, why are you talking with so much voice? You don't have to do that because that's not how you feel. And I think that was my biggest trigger point. Like, you don't feel how you're talking. You were extremely happy inside. I'm just in a good place in my life where I am because I continue to grow and I continue to excel every day. I should be proud. Like, and it's like, nah, but this little piece right here, and it just keeps reminding me of the things that I just need to keep getting better at. And being vulnerable is it's a scary thing for me because I always think about being taken advantage of, and that's just like something that you know stemmed from me when I was a kid. Like, if you start crying, people may start to console you, or and you don't want people to really get close to you because you don't know what their intentions are. I guess I'm always trying to figure out people's intent with me. It's like, show me who you are up front, and don't bring me your, what is it, representative. Don't bring me your representative. Show me exactly who you are, because you're gonna know I'm me, and you're gonna see that I'm me. So the triggering aspect is that, like, that made me really check in. Like, nah, you need to work on that.
when you say that you would speak with force, what does that mean? Does it mean
Say that again for me.
when you said that you would speak with so much force? What does that mean?
So, like, I'm very direct.
Does it sound like hostile? Is it like angry? Is it?
It sounds like it definitely sounds like a little hostile. When you come from a place where your voice wasn't heard, as a kid, growing up in foster care, I didn't have a voice. Like, I felt like everybody would talk for me or talk at me. And I didn't understand why people would do that. It's like, hey, I'm right here. Hey, how you doing? Like, it's like, hey, how you doing? I feel like everybody would talk around me. So, you have all these workers or social workers and judges and saying what's best for you, but nobody's truly asking you, what do you want? And now I've just become accustomed to saying exactly what I want and saying exactly what I want, how I want it, when I want it, who I want to be there, and what I'm going to do to get it. And I don't care if it offends anyone. That's how I say it, just like that. And it's like, damn, like,
whoa, I just said good morning.
Right.
Like,
it would be a good morning.
What's good about this morning?
Like, yes, it's like, hey, Ashley, what you mean? Hey, like, what's up? Like, I hit them with a what's up versus like, hey, how you doing today? It's the same concept versus like, what's up?
Yeah.
Like, it comes off a little bit more hostile. But, and I mean, I get it, because what's up is me. Like, I don't want to change the what's up. It's more like, hey, what's up? How you doing today? Like, I can blend it, versus like, what's up? Like, and people may take offense to that, like, what's up as in like why you saying something to me, or what's up like, am I good? Or like, so I want to be able to, say good morning and not have to have that extra thought in their head to where I'm feeling like they thinking I'm hostile.
Indeed. And I think we touched on it a little bit on Sunday, and maybe somebody brought it up, just defense mechanisms. And we have a whole episode on defense mechanisms as well. But that's what it sounds like. And just, I'm glad you alluded to your upbringing, because I want to touch a little bit on that so we can kind of get an understanding of how you got to where you are today with healing and being able to be vulnerable. So tell us about like growing up as a foster child. What was that like for you?
Um, First and foremost, I'm gonna say foster care was a learning experience. um, I think we're all little students in this thing called life, and we are given a set of classes that we're supposed to take. And in the classes that I took personally, I think that, um, they were a little bit longer than normal. You know how you get classes that are maybe 2 hours, and those are those block classes, or you get classes that are maybe, a little bit shorter than that. And for me, foster care was a long block class. So I went through this for 15 years of my life. And that's a huge part from 4 to 19 years old. You can say till until 21 because I still have like, some benefits from the state, but I was no longer dealing with like social workers and things like that because I had like independent living. But being taken into foster care, I would definitely say, starting at 4 years old, my mom never used drugs, or she never did anything that, was like egregious as far as like when I was younger. It was just she was young. She was young, and when you young, you 17 and you have a baby, and it's kind of like, I'm about to just put this off on my grandma. I'm gonna put this off on whoever could take care of this baby. Or and that just was the case. It was me and my sister, and um she was 3. Well, I was 3 and she was 2. And it's kind of like you starting to really, recognize faces and things like that. And we were living with my auntie, and my aunt, she was, my mom's sister. We traveling back and forth to and from Milwaukee to Chicago. And it just so happened that my mom stayed in Chicago a little bit longer. She said she was coming back to get us, never came. A couple months passed by. Her sister's like, hey, look, now at this point, if you don't come back, they ain't gonna be here when you get back, type thing. And I think that my mom thought it probably was a joke, like, you're not gonna do that to your nieces. And as I think about it, it's kind of like, yeah, you're not gonna do that to your nieces, but she did, right? She had her own children to deal with, and I understand that. Um, so that began my journey in '94 in the foster care system. Dealing with splitting up from my sister. She went to her different areas and was adopted. And it just so happened that that family that she went to, didn't want me. I didn't want the older one. I want the younger one where they can, mold and do whatever it is that they do. But they decided not to keep me. So to further that, I went from place to place to place. And going from place to place to place, you learn every different personality, which is why, vulnerability was not a thing for me. It's kind of like, I don't want to blend up in these people's family, and I'm trying to figure out where my mom at. Like, I don't want to really get comfortable in nobody's space, because I'm trying to figure out where my people is and why I can't go with my people and who are you. And I mean, even as a kid that's 6, 7, and 8, trying to figure that out. I mean, even though the things that she may have done may have been wrong, a kid wants nothing more than their mother.
Absolutely.
Nothing.
Any way that they can get them, child.
Yes.
Any way that they can get them,
Yeah.
that's who they cry for.
Absolutely.
Right? And I think that that's what I was doing when I was a kid, because I couldn't understand. Like, I seen this person every day, and now she's just poof, gone. And so that's why it was very hard for me to be vulnerable at that time. So moving that forward, going into different situations and experiments, different type of classes that I was dealing with foster care and foster homes. You learn a lot about people and the things that they do in a particular household. I'll just say, the Copelands, if you have my book, Lost in Child Welfare, um, the Copelands was the only foster home that was the best out of 50.
You were in 50
You were in
foster
50
homes?
homes?
50 foster homes. And not because I was a bad kid. I was actually a great kid, which is the complete opposite. I practiced being good so that families could want me, because I was so scared of not being wanted. And like you focus so much on trying to be something that you're not. Like, you can't even typically be a kid and make a mistake, because you're like, well, if I do this family's not going to want me. So I knew to come in the house on time. I knew to clean up. I knew to make sure I cleaned up after myself. I knew not to be disrespectful. And people would tell you this, that's still around, like, no, not Ashley. Like, she's not going to be disrespectful, because that's just not who she is, especially as a kid. But I think that that foster home taught me a lot. It taught me what good and evil was inside of people, and not within my foster parents, but within the things that transpired in the home. A lot of things happened in that household, sexual abuse, um, and so many different types of traumas. I try to stay away from the T word, but so many different types of traumas, and learning that, what love is, just from seeing a married couple who was married longer than uh, probably all of our ages together. They were married for a really long time, and they really taught me what love is and what family is supposed to be like, and what really keeping it together means. Like, Miss Copeland was she was the wife, and like, gardening was her thing, and she would come and get me and teach me how to plant and do certain things like that. Working around the house, cleaning up after yourself, and making sure you use the right products to do certain things. But she was a little mean, but she was tough on me though. She knew, like, I was her kid, and she after she got me, she didn't want no other kids. Like, it was like, no, I don't think they'll blend well with Ashley. Ashley needs her space. Like, she was really on that. And to bring that back to, what parenting is, my mom would used to call, and she would, try to speak to me or whatever. And, like, let me talk to my damn daughter. And, she would get real hostile. And it's like, first of all, you calling my house trying to speak to my baby like that?
Right.
Nah, you're not gonna talk to her like that. So I think that kind of built up some pressure and some frustration within my mom, because it's like, first of all, like, that's my kid. I had her. That's how they get when parents feel like somebody else trying to take theirs, and it's like, no, that's me. Taking all the credit, right? And I couldn't talk to her very much. I remember a conversation that I had with my mom, and I don't know if you've ever seen a movie where, like, someone will be handing someone the phone, and that person is cursing like really bad, but that kid, I think it was in Enough, in the movie Enough, when the dad was trying to go off on Jennifer Lopez, but the kid had the phone, right? So imagine that scene, but that happened to me in real life. So, and I was just stuck, like, and she's like, hello, hello, but she was talking about me. And it's like, wow, like, such an eye-opening moment for a kid who really don't know much of what was going on, but I knew that she wasn't there. And as much as I wanted her to be there, I kind of saw something different. And I'm just like, damn, that's messed up. Like, how could somebody feel like this? And, Miss Copeland, she was really, like, not with it. Like, she was totally against me talking to my mom in her home. Fast forward that piece of it. My mom had parental rights for quite a long time, and the Copelands wanted to adopt me.
Oh, wow.
And it just so happened that Miss Copeland ended up passing away.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
How old are you?
I would say like 10.
Oh my gosh.
it just so happened that she ended up passing away, and she was like primary for the foster home, foster care licensing at the time. And Mr. Copeland didn't know anything about it. So, he it's like he couldn't keep me because of that, but they wanted to keep contact. So, which when I talk about like my godparents, I have two sets of godmothers. One I gained later on in life, and one that I had when I was younger. So, in Miss Copeland will, she had requested for my godmama Jackie to stay in touch, keep in touch, don't lose sight of where she is. And
that is so
Wow.
sweet
Shout
that
out
she
to Miss Copeland for
I
having a
know.
will.
yeah,
We talked
yeah,
about that on our last episode. So
for not
that's
only having a will,
it's
but for
important.
making provisions for you, even
Absolutely.
though
Yeah,
you weren't
yeah.
adopted. You know,
Absolutely.
I wasn't. I
Was that
wasn't. And
godmommy that was there on Sunday?
nope, I gained her later in life.
Okay. She
Yep,
was
yep,
cute.
yep. That's
Okay.
actually my high school sweetheart's mom, and she just would not let me go.
Oh.
I dated her son, and she's just like, first of all, I don't even care what happens between y'all. She's going nowhere.
right?
You
That is
stuck with me.
Oh
hilarious.
yeah,
It's me and you.
she just like she don't care what
Aw.
happens. She just like, yeah, no, sorry, I don't like. Even with all these little friends, it's funny how it comes about, but I'll tell y'all that story a different day. But yeah, I think that once that happened for me, I was just like, wow, this is like my family. Like I felt like I belonged, and for that to be ripped away from me, and I didn't really know what death was. I didn't understand that at the time, and I'm just like, wow, I gotta leave. But inside of that home, I talk a lot about what I learned about love and family, and um, but sexual abuse too. Like the good and the evil was there, and their grandson at the time, did some things that wasn't very nice to me, and I think that recognizing that, like, wow, this person is like kind of crazy in a sense, but I think that it was more so like, wow, I can't believe that somebody would do this to a kid. You know what I mean? And trying to really understand that piece. Um, I lost it. Like I lost it. I used to want to do things um, to not harm Mr. Copeland, but harm the home that because he was in the home. And I was so afraid of saying what would happen or what was going on. And it's like Miss Copeland used to always have these conversations with me while we were gardening. Like, you could tell me anything. Now, if anybody's bothering you, it's like I almost felt like if she probably knew something was changing in me, but didn't really know what it was. They were church going people, so um, and it didn't work how it should have worked, and I didn't get a chance to really say what I wanted to happen, or like what had happened to me, and um, like life changed quick after
So,
she passed away.
so the sexual abuse happened with the grandson.
Correct.
Did he stay in the house?
No, not after they found out. So they found out because I don't want to, press against someone else's story because that's not my place to say it. But after it came out, it was a lot of people, and it's like, whoa, you a sick person, like. And from that point, I left the home, and so I was taken away from them from that end because Miss Copeland had passed away, and he couldn't. Mr. Copeland couldn't keep me. And as much as I wanted to stay with Mr. Copeland, if you guys watched my story, I talked about my journal. And in my journal, I wrote, because I went to another home, I wrote, like, I wish I was still with Mr. Copeland, like over and over and over. And I still have the journals when I was a kid. It's crazy how I look at them sometimes. But I wrote that a lot, like, because that's where I wanted to be. Only wanted to be with him, even though I knew what was going on in the home. And it's like the psychological piece of that just wasn't clicking within me. Like, you can't have this happen. Like, you can't be where you want to be. Even if you want to be there, it's not good for you to be there. So that's when things really took a turn for the worse for me. After I left there, it's like, all right, now it's turn up time. Like, I'm I don't feel like I belong nowhere now. Like, don't nobody love me. Again, I'm still trying to figure out what death is, where the hell is my mom and why ain't she clicking in with me? But I say all that to say, like, my childhood when I was younger, like, really, um, it's like classes. I look at it like class. It's like a lesson for me to learn. And I used to try to blame myself as much as I could, but it wasn't my fault. Like, it ain't your fault that you was in these situations. It's your mom's fault. And I really tried to figure out and try to gain some understanding on that from her. But unfortunately, we're at a stalemate, and I don't I don't think that I'll ever get it. Actually, I won't ever get it because I have to dead that situation. But
So there is so
then
much going on here.
Right.
it is.
Actually, it's a
It
lot
is.
for you to say. It's a lot for us to process. So
Mm-hmm.
first, at 4, you're going into a foster home. You understand at 4 that a family wanted to adopt your younger sister, and
Yeah.
literally, you were aware that they chose
Mm-hmm.
not to adopt you. So
Yeah.
you're already feeling unwanted,
So
unwanted.
4, 5, and 6. So we went to like a few homes, and she was adopted at 5, and I was 6. I just went to
Okay.
to another home.
So then, thank God you ended up with Miss Copeland, right?
Not the
And
very
then,
next. It's like a few.
It was a few more.
yeah, well, there's 50 in there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Because you were about 10 at the
there's-
Copelands. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you already knew, like, okay, these families don't want me. They rather have her. And you got all these people, like you said, speaking for you, not really acknowledging you as a human being, checking in with you, seeing how you're actually doing, but just making these decisions, and you're like this object that's just like there. And then you can have situations where you're overhearing your mom speaking ill of the situation, poor word choices maybe. But then eventually you end up with Miss Copeland, and then you start to kind of feel a sense of belonging. Miss Copeland sees me, right?
Yeah.
She says, "Oh no, that child won't go right with my Ashley," right?
Yeah.
So you sort of build a home. You kind of set down roots finally.
Yes.
Right. But then you have some trauma because the grandson inflicts this on you, unfortunately. But in my mind, it's hard for you to rationalize because this is also a place where you finally felt love.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
So I feel love in this place, but I'm also being tormented in this place. So of course you want to go back to Mr. Copeland. That's home.
Absolutely. This became like it felt like home.
And if that's the only love that you know,
then
we'll keep choosing it. Right?
Yeah.
Especially at 10 to internalize.
Yeah.
You don't know any better.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I just needed a second to catch up.
Yes.
So where you are. Okay.
Yes.
So then Miss Copeland unfortunately died. She passes away. And you now have to figure out death. You're still trying to figure out what the heck happened with my mama. Do you get to talk to your sister?
So me and my sister, we talked periodically, but it wasn't something that was like consistent. So we lost touch for a lot of the years, and that relationship is still not what it should be, but it's a lot better than where it was.
Okay.
Wow. And then there's the trauma with the grandson. So all of these layers.
But you couldn't speak the trauma with the grandson. So it sounds like Miss Copeland was poking. She was like, "What's going on? You know, you can talk to me, but you're silent like because you feel like you can't."
Right. So when she passed away, it was kind of like, mind you, I was in this home for a few years before this happened, and it's like, wow, like, okay. Like, you're trying to really figure this out and grasp it. And it's just unfortunate. It's just unfortunate that transpired with this family. Again, like you said, where I love, and I just couldn't figure out the evil part of that. And, I just used to not want to be myself sometimes.
Right.
You learn a lot about yourself, but I used to not want to be me. just so I can just dang, if there was a superpower I would have, it would definitely be to disappear.
Mm.
Just so that I could not feel what I was feeling in those moments. And it's like, wow. I sometimes I reflect on it and it's just like, you come a long way, girl. So
Yeah,
yeah.
shout out to your journals. I'm sure that is a huge
Oh
reflective
God.
piece.
Oh, it's a must. I journal every single day.
Mm.
Like sometimes, like now they're starting to get a little funny. As I read back. One of these days I might publish one of these journals just because I think they're funny as hell when I talk to myself.
Listen, but somebody gonna need those stories
Yes,
one day. So maybe it is coming as you continue to
yes,
evolve and be more comfortable with those words. That's gonna help somebody else for sure.
for sure.
Wow.
So then what?
I'm still stuck on your mama. Like
So
I
then
kind of want to
what
go
are
back
you?
to
So
her.
then
Yeah.
what are you feeling in that moment when you realize, okay, I can't go be with Mr. Copeland. Miss Copeland is gone. My mama is gone. My sister is adopted somewhere. This thing happened to me with the grandson. What is your state of being?
Um, Definitely I started to, depression started to set in and
Mm-hmm.
um, that's 11, 12, 13 when I really started to figure out what depression was and like it was tough with me and trying to really fight through those pieces um, and really trying to understand who I was because I didn't I didn't experience any verbal abuse in this home, but as far as you know, my body and just trying to understand how it worked and um, just going through that traumatic situation, I really didn't want to be like a girl just so that I wouldn't be abused anymore. Um, I don't know, like I just really started to set in and sink into like this sunken place of depression and suicidal thoughts, um, anxiety, which are I actually still suffer with anxiety really bad, and separation anxiety. Those are my two that I suffer with currently, but definitely I'm dealing with that. Um, but depression and suicide were the biggest pieces. Taking medication for it. And overprescribed medication. And it's like, I think that with me having being overprescribed, it's like, I started to create this, migraines and just so much stuff transpired with my mental health, I should say. That's what I was doing. I was soaking in depression and just not feeling like I belonged anywhere. Like a sense of belonging somewhere is so important. You want to feel. I think everybody deserves to be loved, and except for the R word people and anybody who harm kids. I don't. I'm against it. Like those are the only people in the world I probably feel a certain way about, and yeah, that's where I was at. Like I was really learning what therapy is, and I couldn't stand it at the time. Um, you know, Dealing with who I was fighting that battle, fighting the battle. Suicide was definitely always an option for me. So I thought about it like a lot. You know, things happen where, you got to go into these little homes where you don't hurt or harm yourself. And it's just because I just didn't want to be there anymore. I didn't want to be there. And it's as I think about it now, it's like I'm glad you didn't because where you are right now, like
Right.
We are all
people
glad you didn't.
yeah, it's
Wow.
like I think about a lot and I'm
Mm-hmm.
just proud of myself.
Yeah, you should be.
What made you not do it? What made you say, I know that there were
Um,
probably millions of times where you were like, I could this is totally an option. But what made
yeah.
you keep choosing to live?
Um I think it was more so when I started, like, to fast forward the story, independent living. I was 15 and a half. But that happened because, like, I didn't want to go back into foster care, like a foster home. My final foster home was an evil old lady who
Mm-hmm.
went to Christian Faith Fellowship Church,
Mm-hmm.
and she was an evil old thing. She was like an evil thing. And I just said, I think I told my worker, like, if I go back into that home, I'm going to hurt her like really bad. And they were like, okay, nope, not going to put her back in the home. Like, let us put her in a group home. And yeah, that was the final straw, moving forward for me. Like, I had to not go back. And that's when I stopped taking my medication. And once I stopped taking my medication, which I believe triggered a lot more of my thoughts too.
You're
When you're
probably
on,
suppressing it. Yeah.
yes, exactly,
And you said you were
pushing it down.
overprescribed.
I
Yeah.
was overprescribed, and I don't know if this doctor is deceased, but one of these days I'm gonna try to find him and ask him some questions, because I just need to know what the hell were you doing. Um, But yeah, that was the reason when I stopped taking my medication, and I told my worker, I'm not going back into foster care. I'm just gonna be a runaway or something.
Right.
Like, even
Yeah.
though I knew it wasn't safe, and I never thought about like running away. That was not my thing. I was more afraid to be outside than in the inside, knowing that it was evil in the inside of the house.
It
At
was
least
the
I
evil that you
know what to
knew.
face.
Yeah.
Right. Right. You
I
can
just
face
knew
The
what
that
evil
to
that you
face.
know, child. Sometimes it's just the
Exactly.
evil that you know.
but
So
outside is scary.
yeah, so yeah, that's when I truly like started to work at it. But I fought depression up until I was 21. So, not that saying that, I don't have moments, because I think that everyone go through a moment of depression, but I am a survivor of it, because depression and suicide is not something that even crossed my mind. Like, I look in the mirror too much, like, damn, girl. Like, it's just like something that makes me feel good about myself, just seeing myself. Because I didn't feel like that about me before. I didn't think I was beautiful. I didn't think, just based off of believing what other people told me I was. So, yeah, I think that that's where I'm at with it. And I think that, when you think about life, um, and how it happens, and the situations that you're given, the cards that you're dealt, we just really don't know like how to play them. And um, I think the cards that I'm getting now is kind of like, I know why the hand was dealt to me this way.
Yeah,
Like, I know my purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know my purpose. I know why I'm here, and to identify that now is like, I get emotional a lot thinking about my purpose. I always said, because when I was 15, again, starting the independent living, I met Antoine Fisher, the real Antoine Fisher, not
Wow.
Derek Luke.
Wow.
Yeah, I met Antoine Fisher, and he was at Summerfest grounds, and he was talking about the poem, like, who will cry for the little boy. And I think that was like my click. Like, and my mentor, she'll tell you, like, I think they were probably calling my name for like 10 minutes. And like, I was zoned into this man and every single word that he was saying on that stage. And I think I just said out loud, like, just talking to myself, but just in the moment. You ever seen like, just like, you're just straight like this into something. And I was like, I'm going to be just like Antoine Fisher. And she was just like, Ashley, like, and I probably finally snapped out of it. But I was like, I'm going to be just like him. Watch. I'm going to be just like him. And I think that he was my, like, moment.
Yeah. That you can make
Because,
it. You can make it out
yeah,
of the situation.
yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
That I could make it. And I was happy to have met him.
That's
One of these
good.
days, I want to tell him that.
You have to. I'm like, that has to happen, like a full circle moment of you
Yeah, I
telling
need
him,
to tell
like,
him that. I have to tell him that.
So then,
Yeah.
going back to the grandson, so it sounds like he had a lot of victims, and
Yeah.
he was, I guess, sort of outed some other way, but then it was made aware that you were part of the list.
Um, well, you know, if you think about it, I wasn't outed. It was I just said it
Okay,
like
you
I
did.
yeah, I ended up saying it. Um and not to give too much away, but um, I had to go to the doctors and things like that to get checked out, and it just it all went together, and they were just like, yeah, this really did happen, type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I had to really go through the wire to get, like, the R word kits and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. So I had to really go through the process of talking about it, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so then people did believe you because all the evidence is there.
Hmm. Hmm.
So then,
Yeah.
what do you? So first of all, right, when you're going through all these things before you haven't even fully reached the full potential of your formative years, right? You're like 10, 11, 12. Your mind isn't even fully developed at this point. You're already going through depression. Um, the sexual encounters were not invited, right? You don't even really probably even know what sex is. You're probably not even that aware of your body at this point.
Hmm.
Um, what do you think about love in this moment? What's your perception?
Um, my perception on love is it's important, um, because in order to just understand who you are as a person, you got to start with self love. You have to love on yourself and love who you are, and soaking up that part of love. But receiving love is also important,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's coming from, siblings, family, or a relationship. But if you're referencing like in romantic relationships, um, I don't have a
No,
problem with it now.
I'm meaning like when you're during that time,
Hmm.
what is your perception of love? Like, how do you even make sense of
I
it?
didn't understand it. I
Okay.
didn't understand love at all. I didn't understand love at all. I didn't know what that meant. I think the word belonging was like my love
Mm.
word. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Wow.
I didn't think I understood what love was, because I don't think it mattered to me at that point. I just wanted somewhere to feel like I belonged. So if that meant that you love me because I'm here with you, then sure.
Did
Mm.
Miss
Um,
did Miss Copeland have other kids?
yes, she had six
Oh wow.
children.
Okay, so you were in the house with 6 other kids.
Nope, I was the only kid in the home.
Oh, they were
Um,
adult
they
children.
were grown children.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then did you actually call her Miss Copeland, or did you
nope,
call
I called
them?
her mama.
Oh, that's so
Hmm.
sweet.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, that was
Did
my
they
mom
tell
and
you
my
they
dad.
loved you? Like, did they ever say those words to you,
Yeah,
Mr. and Mrs. Copeland? Okay.
yeah. I probably said it back a lot of times,
Mm,
but it's not something that I can remember. I don't
mm,
remember saying it like a lot, because I was too young to probably just know, but I don't remember like saying like I love you, like. But I
Yeah.
know, like, Mr. Copeland was really like that. That was my glue, because he was softer on me than she
mm.
was. So it was like, they had a baby girl, and she obviously was the biological baby girl, but it was like, no, I'm baby girl now. So
Mm.
when at that moment when he started saying that, like, no, she's baby girl, like she'll be like, no, I'm baby girl, and then, like, we'll go back and forth like on holidays and stuff like that, because he'll say, get baby girl this
Mm.
and something like that. But I was the baby girl
Yeah.
because technically I am.
No.
Yeah, so
Oh.
he was my closest.
And is Mr. Copeland still living at this point?
He passed in 2008. Yeah, yeah, it was important. Like I was in both of their you like what is it, the eulogy readings and things like that. Um, they made sure of it. Like it wasn't no change. It wasn't no change. They wasn't having like ain't nobody gonna tell her she ain't mine.
Right.
Yeah, they weren't having that. That wasn't even in their thing. They,
Now,
so
this
yeah.
was in Milwaukee because you said you were from Chicago, so you were kind of going back and forth. So all of this took place in Milwaukee.
In Milwaukee.
So then, did you have a relationship with the children, the other 6?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
That's good.
That's like their daughter Jackie is my godmom. That's my godmom.
Oh, that's awesome.
Aww.
Okay. Yeah. So then, how were you doing in school during this time? Like you got a whole lot going on.
You know, school wasn't a bad thing for me, but I also wasn't focused either. So, having things like IEPs and things like that to, help me. I wasn't really focused in school, but I didn't do bad either. So I was always smart. I did the work. But I think I did the work just to do it. I didn't truly understand it. So it's just like, all right, I'll do my work and that's that. I wasn't bad in school. I used to get picked on a lot, bullied. I had like little pigtails and stuff like that. And Miss Copeland, she used to put me on punishment a lot for not having my hair done right when she sent me to school and I come back and it's all wild. But she couldn't understand that for nothing in the world. So I used to get put on punishment for having like a bad hair day or something like that. But it was like, cause girls was pulling on my pigtails. Like, so, but yeah.
I know, right? Kids are a trip.
They are. They really are. I don't like bullies. I don't like bullies. But the crazy thing about that, one of the girls who, rest her soul, she actually ended up passing away a few years ago. But like we had a really bad fight. So like it was like when we was teenagers, and I used to come back to the neighborhood and ride my bike and stuff like that. Because mind you, I was still included in this family. So when I used to go to like respite care, like one of my foster moms after the Copelands had gone on and I was older, she used to like send me there to like have respite care with Jackie. And I used to ride my bikes or whatever, and I just so happened to see the girl that used to bully me when I was little, and boy did we have a tassel. We had a tassel. But I don't know why we did that. It's just like I remember you picked on me. And those were things that I was still like hurting. I was still going through what I was going through. And I think that I just did it just to get out all my frustration. Like, you did this to me and I used to get in trouble for you doing this. And I just took out all of my frustration out on her. And that just goes to show you how far depression goes. Like, you take out anything on anybody because I held it in so long. That's why, being vulnerable is important. It's important. You gotta let that shit out.
Let it go.
Set it free.
Let it out.
Or you might cluck somebody upside their head. They don't even know.
Cluck nobody, because I'm telling you, it's just not a good thing to be clucking anything. I'm telling you. So yeah, it happens.
Man. Wow. So then when you talk about like aging out and going to independent living, so that means group home, because we had another guest on here before, shout out to Willis, who talked about his experience being in foster care, what that looked like out in LA. So in Milwaukee, so it looks like going to a group home at 15, and then did you like live on your own? Like, what was that process like?
So I did end up living on my own. Didn't know anything about like credit or none of that. I was in group homes for a lot. Like I, transferred back and forth to group homes and things like that. And I just was like, okay, at some point, they're gonna have to like find me either like a home to stay in or give me an independent living. So I ended up going to independent living here in Lad Lake, and spending some time there, learning what I should be doing, joining groups and creating groups. The Youth Advisory Council was one of the groups I did help create, and that was really when I started like my passion for speaking, like because I said that I wanted to be just like Antoine Fisher, so why not create a group just like Antoine Fisher?
Well, come on and be like Antoine Fisher.
I love it.
I started young, and I just felt like I wanted to start talking. So why not start talking with like-minded people like me? And I was a kid, like 15, 16, talking about like the shit that we went through. Like, yeah, because I think it's funny how this happens. And, we used to lobby and talk to those people who can make those changes in Madison.
That's really amazing.
So I think that was like a big turning point for me in foster care, because now I finally have a word and I have something to say and people are listening to me. I'm like, okay, so this thing can get a little better. Like, all right. Like, so I really started to dive deeper into myself in foster care, independent living. So that was my real life. Like, all right, get your shit together, because ain't nobody gonna do it for you. You got to really work hard at this. Yeah, that was my thing. Like, I had to really work hard at what I wanted and take therapy seriously, and just not giving up on me. Like, I didn't give up on me, and as much as I wanted to, I didn't. So that's why I say, like, it's important for me to be vulnerable, like, especially now, because I'm not a crier. I don't cry. But I'll tell you, every day last month in October, I cried every day. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? I was happy.
And it's 31 days in
movies.
October.
Yeah, I was watching movies crying. I'm watching funny stuff crying. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I think I just needed to let it out.
The release,
Like, I just needed to let it out. And my body is probably like, oh, okay, now that we got that done, like, let's really start to work on this now. Like,
that's how it is, I swear.
Like, when your body is done, it's done. Like, so I think that my mind was more done with, like, stop holding this shit in. Like, let it out. Like, it's okay. And use your I statements. Use your I statements. It's what I keep telling myself.
So tell us, you kind of alluded to it earlier, but so where are you at with your mom? It sounds like
we're not in a good place. So as of maybe like 2 weeks ago, I've officially decided to let that go.
okay.
And it's not because I wanted it to work with me, because I know it'll never work with me. It was more so because I think I wanted it more for my sisters, because I am the glue, and I make the things happen. I just personally, I think that my mom hates me because I'm everything that she's not, and she doesn't have any part of that. And it's like, I wish moments are starting to sink in, and it's like, I wish that I could be there. I wish that I could, and she's still fighting whatever she's fighting, and I don't have no ownership over that. I can't do it. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is type of thing. And I think that she knows that, like, I'm at a point where I just don't care. And I felt like, if I could get my sisters to stay in contact with her and try to play peacemaker for them, then maybe they'll, end up, because she just seen my baby sister, like, that she had in 99 or whatever year. It was 17 years before she seen me. And this just happened 2 weeks ago.
So it's three of you all. Okay.
I'm the oldest.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm the oldest, and my middle sister that was adopted, and my baby sister that was also adopted.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So she didn't have custody of any of you?
Nope.
Okay. And so now she's starting to have those I wish moments, right? I wish I
Yeah,
was
for
there, I
sure.
wish I could
For
have.
sure.
The
Yeah, and
regret, right?
Yeah.
It sets in.
Yeah.
yeah, it's regret, but it's, I think it's deeper than regret now. It's more like I should have. It's like I need to. I want to get better, but I'm scared. Like I don't think I can get better, so let me push them away. Like because I'm too afraid of the unknown. It's just like she's still dealing with whatever she's dealing with, and I'm sorry, I don't live there no more. So I gotta let you go. And um, I'll say this. Recently my biological father passed away. It's coming up on a year actually. Um, and I was really close to him. Um, and she said some hurtful words about my dad, and I was like, "Oh yeah, she's trying to hurt me. She know how I feel about him." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm done." So I just pray that the universe heals my heart if something was to happen to her before me, because I'm done forever. Like I'm done. Like when I say I'm done, I am done because I can't. I tried too many times, and I'm okay with trying and not getting the result, but I'm not okay with trying and getting like a bad result because I tried. Like, you know, so I'm done forever. Like, I gotta let it go. It is what it is.
It's whatever you can make peace with.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
And
and I done
sometimes
made peace with this piece right here.
peace with this piece.
Hey.
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes I think that it can be a hard concept for some people, depending on their background.
Correct.
It can be a hard concept for people to understand. My dad was like on drugs and whatever. You have the
Yeah.
story for another time, right?
Right.
But I think it can be difficult for people who had a different type of upbringing to understand why a child could say, "I'm better off without the parent."
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think it's just because we all have a different, like you said, we have different classes in this thing called life. I do think that there are some people who would go through the same things that we've been through, and they'll still choose their parent, but at what cost, right? And I think what happens is sometimes, and maybe in your situation, you're just saying it costs too much.
Yeah,
and I'm not willing to pay
my
for
mental
it.
health.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I can't. Mental health is right now. That's the most important thing to me, and my peace
Right.
of mind and my sanity. I'll do anything for my peace, and
Right.
if it's letting you go for good, I got to do that.
Yeah. That's actually one of the things they talked about at the conference, where they were like, you have a purpose assigned to you, you have this, you have that, and sometimes it could be your own family, it could be your friends, it could be
Yeah, for
your
sure.
own siblings, right? That's pulling you away from that. And it's like, will you let them go?
Yeah,
You
you got to do what you got to do. If it's costing you your peace of mind, I'm telling it's not worth it. So I am okay with that. And hey, listen, I just got to wash my hands with things that intentionally try to harm me. Um, I just got to let her go, in whatever
but
direction
still
that
wish
is.
her well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. It's never no ill intent. I don't want nothing bad to happen to anybody.
Right.
But I just gotta let you go. Be a
Yeah.
butterfly.
And I'm definitely like cheering for you on that, because I think it is hard when it comes to family.
I think that's the hard.
It is very hard, but at some point you have to be like, okay, this is not serving me. This is bringing it right. It's bringing me to a place that I don't like to be in. It's taking away from my peace and my mental health. So I do have to. I could wish you well from afar, right? And that's okay. And so I'm definitely sending all the love and light to you, because that's huge to make that choice for yourself. But I'm proud of you for making that choice for yourself.
Appreciate it.
It's hard to set those types of boundaries.
It is.
It is.
Yeah. I know.
I know it's heavy, y'all, but there's more to this story.
I can tell. Like I'm like, we just touched the surface of this story.
This is just a scratch.
It's just a little scratch,
child. My gosh. Oh my gosh. I can't wait to start reading your book though. So I'm glad we got these. So make sure you purchase these. Like a lost and child welfare. Because again, we've talked to a couple people who've been, foster children, what that is. We've seen movies and documentaries and things, but it's nice.
I used to want to be a foster child.
Shut up.
I used to be like, please, somebody take me.
My sister used to always tell me that. You like, you adopted. I was like, who says this to their siblings? Like, what?
Okay. But now I'm like, you know what? Maybe.
Listen.
Maybe.
This is it. Yeah, we're both excited to dive into this book.
Yes, absolutely. So what do you think your purpose is?
Yeah.
So what has your life class, what has your syllabus brought you to?
My passion, speaking, telling my story, using my voice as my platform, and just sharing it amongst people, specifically right now, Black women. And that doesn't mean that I won't speak at, conferences. But I definitely can't wait to get my foot in the door at these foster care conferences.
Who even knew that there was such a thing?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
awesome. I want to be able to, grace stages with my voice, and use it as a tool, because these were things that happened to me. Not saying that they're still happening to others, but they are. And here's where we can get better at. We just got to keep growing and keep elevating and keep learning and gaining some knowledge from everywhere. And I just think that I'm just that sponge that, I just keep soaking up information and keep soaking it up. And now I soaked up my information. It's time to pour it out. Let me go and wring this sponge out. Let me just wring my sponge out. And I'm okay with doing that, because I didn't have a voice before. And I'm telling you, it was like I was a quiet little mouse. You can't tell me to shut up now. Tell me to shut up. And I'll be like, what? I'm just with you.
What was your first act that you can remember of vulnerability?
My first act?
Yeah, like the first time that you intentionally said, I'm going to practice vulnerability in this moment.
Oh, intentional. Okay.
Because it's work, right? So you got to...
No, it is work.
Got to be deliberate about it.
Like a real moment. I recently started using I statements. Because I'm a person who I tell people what they did to make me feel some type of way, and not tell them how I felt when they did what they did. So this was recent, and this was like 4 months ago, almost 5 months ago. That was like my real moment. Like, oh, start telling people how you feel. Like 5 months ago, and I'm 31, so because I don't like telling people how I feel, and that's because I think that, in all honesty, people don't give a fuck, if I can say that. People don't.
I think so too.
So when you say how you feel, or when you say like what they did to you, it's kind of like you're pointing the finger. And even when you say how you feel, they probably still won't care, but at least you got it out. And I'm okay with just getting it out. I don't even care if you care. I'm just about to tell you how I feel, because you made me feel like I didn't matter when you did. And this was like 4 or 5 months ago. I kid y'all not. And that's when I really started saying I have to practice vulnerability and using I statements and tell people how it made you feel and not what they did. So that is crazy to me, because I don't cry, and if I do, it's by myself, because I'm like a person like, you got this, like can't nobody break you, who gonna break you? Can't nobody do nothing to you. You got this, like you've been through everything, like poke your chest out, like.
But then is that still Do you think that is that where you aspire to be, where you do allow yourself to cry in front of people? Because that's another act of vulnerability.
Yeah, yeah, yep. And um, y'all know my friend Kayla, and we've known each other for quite some time, and for 20 years, I'll say. But I've never cried, or she never heard me cry until 2 years ago now, when I was in a relationship, and I was on the phone with her. And one day she just said, like, "Ashley, I ain't never heard you cry before. Like, I ain't never even seen you cry before." So I was like, how you know somebody for a long time and they ain't never seen you cry? That was another eye-opening moment. Like, dude, you do not cry. And if you do cry, it is not in front of people. So just let it out. Even if you feel it in the moment, just let it out. You might be ugly, but just let it out.
Get it out. Ooh.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure. So yeah,
Yes.
that's when I learned like so a full good 2 years. Like I've been trying to meddle into this. Um, I've been working at it. It's a work in progress.
Ooh. And the work
It's a
don't
work in
stop,
progress.
man. The work
It
don't
just don't
stop.
stop. It
You
doesn't
work on
stop.
one thing, you know, you get there, and then it's something else.
It's something
and
else.
Yes,
It's always
yes. You
something
like,
new to
God
work
dog
on.
it, I thought I was done.
Right.
Like, you think you graduated, but you're just
Right.
going to a new school.
Right.
That's
You
all
just
it
getting
is.
started.
I thought I was done healing, and now here I am.
Here I
Yeah, I'm
am, crying.
still here.
Yet
Right,
again.
crying.
Yes, for sure.
Oh
No,
man.
that's good.
Yeah, this is definitely good. So we
Wow.
might have to, you know, slide in your DM, how you come back.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
after we crack open.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know I'm
Yes.
reading some of the titles. I'm like,
Tell me what y'all
taken.
think.
Yes, yes.
I'm
Yes.
reading the titles alone. I'm like,
Yeah.
the chapter titles. I'm like,
Yeah.
So yeah,
Right.
we'll
I didn't want to do no regular old chapter 1, chapter 2, because my life wasn't like that.
Yeah, I can tell, child. I can see it. I can see it. So we gonna cry if we read this book?
I have gotten a lot of people who said that they cried, and so I've got even just one person who said they stopped reading it because they didn't want to traumatize themselves. So
wow.
yeah. And I also have people who said that I'm going to get your book just because I want to get your book, but I am not reading it because I know what's inside of it.
Oh, good.
And that's more guys too. The guys really say.
Cause see, they the real punks. I'm just playing.
No, but you know what? I think that
I
think that they get in mode and be like, where these people at? Let's go get them.
They want to do something now. It happened 20 years ago.
Right.
They're
I'm
trying
like,
to settle a debt.
now, like, hold down now. Yeah, so that's more of what it is. But I think you might, y'all some tough soldiers. Y'all can handle it.
Oh yeah, we read some stories, so we gonna be crying. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
we gonna read
I
it.
think y'all will.
Crying in the daggone nail salon like, and I just daughter is dead.
We are.
Yeah,
and that was a book I almost had to put down. We absolutely will.
Yeah,
we absolutely will. And like I said, we'll
I've been read this before morning.
Oh yeah. Somebody told me that they read it in 1 hour, and I was but that's a good thing because I wanted it to be like that.
That page turner, that's wonderful.
The page turner.
Turn them pages real quick because when book 2 come out.
Okay. Oh, so part 2. Is that exclusive?
No,
She'll just jump on anything that she thinks.
No, it's not exclusive.
But people like, know it's been out for a year now.
First of all, it come out tomorrow. Duh, like you're late.
Yeah. People know it's coming out. I just didn't say when yet.
Okay.
Yep, this is a series book for sure.
Okay.
Oh wow.
It's too much.
So. Okay, I know we need to wrap it up, but I have another question. Okay.
Yes.
So how did you identify, like, how did you get to understand your identity? Because if you don't grow up with your mom, right, it seems like you were still sort of estranged from your aunt. And then it seems like you were close with your dad, but were you as you were growing up? And like how did you understand your identity? How do you know who actually is?
I mean, first of all, I didn't get adopted, so I didn't want to be adopted after the Copelands. Like, it was a thing for me. I wanted to always keep my name. I even said, like, I wonder if I get married, like, will I change my last name? Like, because that's a thing for me. So I probably will, depending. But I'm so into myself now, and how I learned my identity was just really focusing on my mental health and my traumas that I was going through and the things that I've been through, and almost researching who I was, like reading, going back after, I was done with foster care, getting my file. You can get your file, because I wanted to know what y'all was talking about. I wanted to know if y'all was right.
I know,
And,
right?
And those were things that I needed to soul search, so that I can complete the journey of like depression. And like, it's like, dude, like, wow, Ashley, like this was really like you and a part of you and what you had going on. Um, I wanted to fit in and try to mingle around with my biological family. And it just so happened that I ended up getting closer to my dad, my biological father. That's a longer story and for a different day. But once I started to learn him and his family and things like that, I think I really truly like, all right, I like it here. Like I'm starting to really feel like I'm somebody. And it's nothing like receiving a parent's love. And um, it's a miraculous thing. It's like something that's like, I don't know it. And I'm just saying biological because I have several figures in my life, several. But I think it means so much more when you get that biological person. It's deeper than just, it's just deep. It's like I'm a part of you and you a part of me. Like,
it's how it was designed, right?
It's how it was designed. And yeah, that's truly how I identified myself, just searching, researching, like looking for who I was and trying to figure it out, and writing. Like I said, writing is a big part of who I am. That's why I kept every single journal that I have from a kid. Like I don't forget who I am ever. So that's saying, never forget where you came from. I'm sorry, wrong person. Don't say that to me, because like I know where I came from. I know who I am. I know who I identify as. And I don't, quite frankly, really want to talk about where I came from all the time, but it is what it is. Like it's my story. It's my platform, and I'm just gonna own it.
Be a student of yourself, honey.
That's
Be
it.
a student of yourself. And I agree. I try to study myself too.
You have to.
So now it's time for the to go box. So Bestie, I'm going to start with you. Don't steal mine, please. What goes in the to go box?
I'm just taking away the ability to have the conversations and to be vulnerable and talking about our story. I think we all have experiences and we've all gone through things, but I don't think we necessarily talk about them without like being emotional. I think there's power in talking about, your past and who you are and how you grew up, because it's helping somebody else. Somebody else has the same, kind of similar stories or similar upbringings and similar backgrounds. So I think that's what I'm taking away, and I'm proud of, again, our platform here at Rental Besties and your platform with Sip and Speak of giving women the opportunity to be vulnerable and share their stories and share their who they are and their history. So that's what I'm taking away. Talk about it a little more. Don't be, embarrassed or, feeling like you're not worthy of your story because it made you who you are.
Absolutely.
And you didn't steal mine too.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Ashley, what are you going to take in the to-go box?
I think I'm going to take in the to-go box. How can I put this? I think I want to put in the to-go box, or take in the to-go box, just the power of having conversation about the things that we've gone through, and being able to strategize how we can get better. Because it's important to talk about your feelings. It's important to talk about the places that you've been, and I mean, even places that you're afraid of going to, because sometimes growth is scary. And I recognize that, like growth is scary. So in my to-go box, I'm going to take in, talk about your shit It's your story. It's your truth. People can kiss your ass. My story, my truth. Kiss my ass.
Right. Listen.
That's so funny.
Listen, in that order.
Period. Just so y'all know, that's a thing. That's my thing. My story, my truth. Kiss my Ashley Shanika Stokes.
Okay. I love it.
That's my thing.
I love that. That's what's up.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
All right. Last but not least, I'm not gonna share mine. It's mine. I'm gonna keep it to myself.
So actually, you know what? This weekend when I was at the retreat, the first thing that they had us do was this like releasing activity. And so you were supposed to take an index card and write down what you wanted to release and pin it on you, right? And so I didn't know that other people were gonna see what I had wrote down. So most people wrote down like one or two things. I did too, but then I kept going back and I was like, nope, this. And I was like, oh, I don't need to write that other thing down. I don't need to write that other thing down. I ended up writing like 9 things down, okay? And even the stuff that like I don't talk about, even the stuff that, you know, happened a long time ago or whatever that I don't necessarily deal with. And I was like, oh, it kind of felt good to write it down. And they were like, now pin it on you and walk around and let everyone read. And I was like, oh, hell no. Mind your business.
Right. This is for me.
Right, for me. I thought we like tear it up, release, burn it, something like that. But why do other people have to read it? So of course, John Ray just comes right over to me.
Oh Lord!
And reads my card. So then I was like,
start crying.
Right. Cue the crying music. But it felt really good to just be like seen, accepted.
There we go.
And I think that is exactly what you're saying with the vulnerability, right? Where it's just like it's your truth. It is what it is. So I was just like, I'm just gonna write it all down. And I was like, I don't know if she heard that one episode where I was guilty. That's why I want her to see this.
Right.
So she doesn't know.
She doesn't know. But I guess she does now.
Now she knows.
So there it all is. But it felt good. It felt really,
take me as I am.
Really good. And then I was walking around reading other people's cards and I was like, y'all didn't go there.
So y'all missed the point.
Step it up.
Right.
No.
That's funny.
But it did. It felt good. To number one, be welcomed into a space.
Yeah.
Right? Where there is no judgment. It just is because nobody's responding to you. It's silent. So you read, you get to interpret their expression, and everybody just embraced me. Right? And I think that's what your Sip and Speak is doing, right? I think that's what the book is doing. I think that's what this conversation that you are sharing is doing, right? Where you just get to say it. We don't gotta like it. We ain't gotta agree.
Exactly.
You don't gotta,
because it's yours.
You ain't gotta understand it.
Yep, it's yours.
But you will respect it. How about
exactly.
that?
And that's on period.
Listen. Hey. Period.
Okay. And that's on period. Okay.
Yes.
But yes, that's just what it is. So that's what I'm taking away. It's just owning it and not looking for the approval. Right? People don't gotta agree with how you dealt with it. Like, oh, you should talk to your mom. Not if that's not what's best for you.
Right. Right.
You get to choose how you respond. So I think that's what it is. It's just owning it.
For sure.
I agree.
Thanks for tuning in to Brunch with Besties podcast. Until next time.
Peace.